Welcome, beloved soul. Peace to you in this sacred moment. You have been guided here not by accident, but by divine appointment. Heaven has a message for you today, and it begins with this truth. They could not escape what was written in God's plan. No matter how far they ran, no matter how hard they resisted, destiny drew them back. And that destiny was tied to you. You see, when God writes a story, no human hand can erase it. When God binds hearts in his design, time, distance, even mistakes cannot undo what he has ordained. This is why the one who left, the one who turned away, found themselves circling back to the very place their soul was always meant to rest. They came back because heaven was pulling them home. Perhaps you know the sting of absence. Perhaps you know what it feels like to watch someone walk away, leaving your heart heavy with questions. You wondered, was it me? Did I do something wrong? Did I not matter enough? But heaven whispers to you now, no, my child, you were never forgotten. You were never abandoned in truth. Even in their leaving, God was weaving a greater return. For sometimes souls must journey away so they can discover who they are meant to be. Sometimes they must face emptiness in other places to realize where fullness truly resides. And when they wander, God does not lose sight of them. His Spirit follows them in silence, speaking to their conscience, stirring their memory of you. Even when they try to forget, even when they attempt to bury the connection, they find it rising again like a spring they cannot cover. Because what is written in eternity cannot be undone by temporary choices. And so they came back. Not because of chance, not because of coincidence, but because God's hand was guiding their return. Heaven says they could not escape destiny. They could not escape the truth that their heart, when stilled and quieted, beats in rhythm with yours. Beloved soul, do not let bitterness steal your peace. What seemed like delay was protection. What seemed like loss was preparation. God was shaping them, and God was shaping you, so that when the time of reunion arrived, both of you would carry something deeper, something refined, something strong enough to hold the weight of divine purpose. Pause here with me. Breathe softly. Allow your heart to feel this truth. The story is not broken. The story is unfolding. And the author of this story is God himself. Sometimes we only see fragments, scattered pieces, chapters filled with pain. But heaven sees the whole scroll, the beginning, the middle, and the destined end. And heaven says to you today, this is not a story of abandonment. It is a story of return, a story of redemption, a story of divine timing. So when they walked away, it was not the end. When they turned their back, God was already preparing the moment when they would turn again toward you. Their wandering was not wasted, for it led them back with clearer eyes, with a humbled heart, with a recognition that love anchored in God cannot be outrun. Beloved one, perhaps you feel fragile still. Perhaps your heart trembles with the fear. What if they leave again? What if this return is not permanent? But hear me gently. When God restores, he restores with strength. When God rebuilds, he builds with a foundation that cannot be shaken. And this time, it is not the same as before. This time, destiny has declared itself. This time, heaven has spoken. They could not escape because God had already chosen. If this message is resting in your heart, take a moment to let it breathe inside you. You are not hearing these words by accident. Your soul is being comforted. You are being reminded that you were never forgotten in the plan of God. And if these words are blessing you, I invite you gently, subscribe, so that you may continue to receive these peaceful reminders of God's love. Share your heart in the comments, whether it be reflections or a simple prayer request, because your story matters in this sacred space. And if you feel led, share this video with another soul who is weary, someone who needs to know that destiny cannot be escaped when God has spoken. And for those who have been deeply blessed, your super thanks helps this message reach more hearts, more souls across the world, spreading light where there is darkness. Every act of support is a ripple in God's river of love. Now, let us go deeper. Why do people run from what they feel? Why do they turn away from the very blessing they once prayed for? It is because the human heart is fragile. It is because fear whispers louder than faith at times. They doubted their worth. They doubted their readiness. They doubted if the love they felt was too much, too soon, too overwhelming. So they ran. But as they ran, they carried you with them. No matter how far their feet traveled, your presence followed like a shadow of grace. Because when God places someone in your soul, that bond is not easily severed. Their return is not just about you. It is also about them learning that they cannot outrun God's love. They tried to build walls, but love seeped through the cracks. They tried to silence the memory, but it sang in their dreams. They tried to dismiss the connection, but heaven kept reminding them. Until they surrendered, until they yielded, until they allowed God's will to lead them back. And so here you stand, facing not just a person's return, but the unfolding of a sacred destiny. This is more than romance. This is more than companionship. This is about a divine union, orchestrated for kingdom purpose. Together you carry a light meant to shine in places of darkness. Together, you reflect a love that is not only yours, but God's love flowing through you. That is why the resistance could not hold. That is why the distance could not last. Because heaven was not finished. Because God had already spoken. They could not escape. And in their return, you are both invited to walk into something greater than before. Take courage, dear soul. This is a new chapter, not a repetition of old wounds. God is in the center now, weaving both hearts into harmony, and His hand will keep what He has ordained. Let your heart rest. Let your spirit exhale. Destiny has done what only destiny can do, and heaven says with assurance, God brought them back. Stay with me, beloved, for there is more to unfold. But before we continue deeper into the mysteries of this reunion, I gently remind you, let your voice join this circle of peace. Subscribe so that you may always have a place to return when your spirit seeks comfort. Leave your reflections or prayers in the comments so that others may also find healing in your testimony. Share this message with someone who needs to know that even in loss, God writes returns. And if your heart feels led, your super thanks is not just support. It is partnership in carrying these words to souls waiting in silence. Thank you for walking with me in this holy moment. Now breathe, beloved, feel heaven's nearness, for we will continue this journey together. Beloved soul, welcome again. I am grateful you are here, resting your heart in this sacred space. The fact that you returned to listen further is itself a reflection of the very message. You too could not escape what your soul was meant to hear. And just as you are here by divine appointment, so too did they return to you, guided by the same unseen hand of God. Heaven whispers gently now. They tried to live without you, but the emptiness became undeniable. They tried to find fulfillment in other places, but none carried the fragrance of destiny. They searched for peace in substitutes, but peace never lingered long. Why? Because their soul was designed to recognize you. And when something is heaven's design, it will keep pulling, keep stirring, keep echoing, until the soul finally surrenders. You see, love born of God is not a fleeting emotion. It is not fragile, nor shallow, nor easily erased. It is eternal in nature, sealed in heaven before time itself, planted in the soil of two lives to bloom in the appointed season. They may have run, they may have resisted, but even in their wandering, God's hand remained steady. Even in their silence, God's voice was speaking. Even in their denial, truth was alive, waiting for its appointed hour. Beloved, I know waiting has been hard. I know tears have been your companion on long nights when the ache was unbearable. You cried out, "Why, God? Why did they leave if they were meant for me?" And heaven answers now, because the story was not yet ripe, because the soil of their heart was not yet ready to carry what destiny required. Because sometimes separation is the very tool God uses to prepare a reunion that will last. What if I told you their leaving was not punishment but protection? That God, in His mercy, allowed distance so that brokenness could surface and be healed? That God, in His wisdom, shielded you from the version of them that was not yet ready to love in truth? Yes, it hurt. Yes, it pierced deep. But beloved, it was not abandonment. It was preparation for restoration. Listen to me gently. They have returned not only to you, but to themselves. For in losing what was holy, they discovered the weight of emptiness. In trying to fill the void, they found themselves thirsty still. And when they finally quieted their running, they heard the whisper of God. Go back, go home, return to where your soul finds peace. And so they are here, not because you chased, not because you forced, but because heaven wrote it so, because destiny has a gravity that no human will can deny forever. Take a deep breath now. Allow your spirit to feel the weight of this truth. The pain was not wasted. The waiting was not wasted. Every tear watered the soil of your faith. Every prayer rose like incense before the throne of God. And now, heaven honors that faith by fulfilling what was promised. But, beloved, hear this with care. Their return is not only for your joy, it is also for your calling. For when God unites two souls, it is never merely for companionship. It is for kingdom purpose. Together, you will reflect a love that carries healing, a testimony that speaks louder than words, a light that cannot be hidden. That is why destiny would not release them. That is why God brought them back. So then, what is required of you now? Not fear, not suspicion, not holding their past departure over their head like a chain. No, beloved, God invites you into forgiveness, into trust, into walking forward, not backward. For what is ahead is greater than what is behind. And if you dwell too long in the shadow of what was, you may miss the brilliance of what is being born now. This is a moment to let grace flow, to let mercy wash away the scars of yesterday, to embrace the truth that people can grow, hearts can change, and God can redeem even the deepest cracks. Yes, they left, but yes, they returned. And in their return is evidence of a love far greater than human will. A love written by God Himself. Pause. With me, beloved. Let us rest here for a moment. Let us breathe. For sometimes the soul does not need more words, but simply space to absorb truth. Breathe, receive. Rest in the reality that heaven has spoken. This was destiny, and destiny will not be denied. If this message is moving your spirit, if you feel the nearness of God through these words, I gently invite you, subscribe, so you will always find a place of peace and guidance in moments like these. Leave your reflections or your prayer requests in the comments below, so that we may join together as a circle of faith, lifting each other before God. And if you feel led, share this video with another soul who is weary, who wonders if love and destiny are still real. And for those who are deeply blessed by these words, your super thanks helps this message reach countless others who sit in silence, waiting for a word of hope. Every offering you give carries the fragrance of eternity, helping the light travel further. Now let us return to the message. Beloved soul, when they walked away, you thought the story had ended. But heaven saw the bigger picture. You were not left in despair for nothing. That season grew your faith. It taught you to stand on God's promises. It deepened your trust in His timing. And though your heart ached, you discovered strength within you that you did not know existed. Do you see it now? You were growing, even as you felt broken. And so were they. For in their wandering, God was chiseling their pride, humbling their heart, awakening their need for something greater. When they finally returned, they did so with new eyes, eyes that can now see your worth, eyes that now value what they once took for granted, eyes that now recognize the hand of God. This is why heaven says they could not escape destiny, because destiny is not about convenience, it is about divine orchestration. And no matter the detour, God always knows how to lead his children home. Beloved, do not be afraid to open your heart again. Do not let the fear of the past rob you of the joy of the present. For this is not a repeat of yesterday. This is redemption. This is God's signature written in love across your life. Remember, God never begins a story he does not intend to finish. And if he has restored this connection, it is because the chapter ahead holds promise, healing, and beauty beyond what you have yet imagined. Rest now in that assurance. Let your heart breathe easy. You are held, you are seen, you are loved, and the one who once walked away has returned not by accident, but by the pull of heaven. Before we continue further, let me gently remind you once more, if this word is nourishing your soul, stay connected by subscribing. Add your prayers and reflections in the comments. Your words may be the balm another heart needs today. Share this message with one who is weary, for light grows as it is passed. And if you are deeply blessed, a humble, super thanks is a way to help these words reach further, supporting the creation of more peaceful content for those waiting in silence. Thank you, beloved, for being part of this journey of light. Now we pause here, and when we return, we will go even deeper into the mystery of how destiny not only returns people, but transforms them for the glory of God. Stay with me, beloved soul, for heaven is not finished speaking. Beloved soul, welcome once again. You have walked with me through this journey, step by step, word by word, like a gentle river flowing through valleys and hills. And here we are, at the final part of this message. I honor your heart for staying present, for leaning into the whisper of heaven, for allowing yourself to be touched by the truth that destiny cannot be escaped. And now, heaven wants to take you even deeper. They returned. That much is clear. But the greater question is, what does this return mean for you? What does it mean for your future, your heart, your soul's journey with God? Beloved, it means this. You are walking into a divine alignment. You are stepping into a season where what was once broken is now being rebuilt by God's own hands. Where what was once uncertain is now anchored in heavenly certainty. It means you are not entering a cycle of repeated pain, but into a holy cycle of restoration and purpose. They could not escape destiny because their soul was written into your story before time began, and you could not release the memory of them, no matter how hard you tried, because your soul was written into theirs. What God binds, the world cannot separate. What God ordains, human weakness cannot undo. And this is why heaven whispers, with tenderness, rest now, beloved. It is safe, it is sure, it is God. But here is the truth you must carry. This union is not simply for comfort, it is for calling. God does not join souls just to make life easier, but to make life fuller, richer, more purposeful in Him. Together, you will be asked to shine as a witness of love's resilience. Together, you will be an answer to the silent prayers of others who wonder if God still restores, if God still redeems, if God still writes love stories that defy the odds. And through your union, He will say to the world, yes, I do. So, then, let your heart hold this. Their return is not only a gift for you, but a testimony for others, and how you walk this path now matters deeply. Do not walk with pride as if to say, see, I was right all along. Do not walk with fear as if to say, what if I lose them again? Instead, walk with humility. Walk with gratitude. Walk with open hands, saying, God, This is yours. This love belongs to you. Use it for your glory. Beloved soul, you have suffered enough under the weight of doubt. You have cried enough in the night of uncertainty. Now is the time to let joy rise again. Now is the time to let peace return to your chest like a steady heartbeat. Now is the time to walk boldly into the truth that what God has restored will remain. Do you feel the shift in your spirit even now? Do you feel the warmth of heaven wrapping around you like a cloak? It is God saying, you are safe. This story is mine. You can rest. And I tell you again, because you need to hear it more than once. They could not escape destiny. They could not outrun what heaven had sealed. And now they stand beside you, not in their own strength, but in God's grace, carrying a heart, more prepared, more awakened, more aligned than before. Let me say this with love. Do not cling to the past version of them. Do not rehearse the pain of their leaving. See them as they are now, as God has reshaped them, as grace has humbled them, and see yourself as you are now, wiser, stronger, gentler, yet deeply rooted in faith. Together, you are not who you were then. Together, you are new, and heaven delights in this newness. Pause with me here. Breathe slowly. Let your soul feel the truth settling into place. It is not fragile anymore. It is not uncertain anymore. It is not broken anymore. This is destiny, beloved. And destiny is steady. Destiny is sure. Destiny is God. Now in the gentleness of this moment, let me speak encouragement to your weary heart. If these words are stirring something holy within you, do not let the moment pass in silence. Subscribe so that your spirit always has a place to return when it longs for peace. Leave your reflections, your testimonies, or your prayer requests in the comments so that you may give and receive comfort in this circle of light. And if you feel led, share this video with someone who is aching, someone who wonders if destiny ever returns what was lost. And for those who feel the Spirit's nudge, your super thanks is not just support, it is a seed planted, allowing this message to reach souls across the earth who are waiting for hope in their darkness. Your kindness helps carry the light. Now let us go deeper still. What you carry now is not just reunion, but responsibility. The responsibility to protect what God has restored. The responsibility to nurture this love with prayer, patience, and gentleness. The responsibility to keep God at the center so that no storm can shake what has been rebuilt. Do not forget, destiny may bring souls together, but it is faith and obedience that keep them strong. If you neglect prayer, the enemy will try to sow doubt. If you forget gratitude, pride will try to steal your joy. But if you stay anchored in God, nothing shall prevail against you. So I urge you, beloved, let your love become an altar. Let your relationship be a sanctuary where God is honored. Let your union be a testimony, not just to yourselves, but to everyone who sees you, that God is faithful, that love is real, that destiny cannot be denied. And when doubts rise, return to this truth. They could not escape. They could not run far enough. They could not silence what heaven had spoken, because God himself brought them back. Beloved, the message is complete, but the journey is just beginning. You now walk not as one abandoned, but as one chosen. You now walk not as one left behind, but as one restored. You now walk with a companion who, though they once strayed, has been brought back by the hand of God. That is the power of destiny. That is the faithfulness of heaven. That is the love of God. Take courage, take peace, take joy, and walk forward, knowing that your story is not only yours, but God's testimony written across your life. Before we close, let me humbly remind you once more, if this journey has blessed your soul, subscribe, so that you will never miss the quiet whispers of heaven waiting for you here. Offer your reflections and prayers in the comments, so that others may be strengthened by your story. Share this message with a soul who longs for hope, for healing, for a sign that love returns. And if your heart feels led, your super thanks is a holy gift, helping to sustain the creation of peaceful, spirit-led messages that reach souls across the earth. Thank you, beloved, for being part of this circle of light. Now rest. Rest knowing destiny is faithful. Rest knowing heaven is near. Rest knowing God has brought them back. And as you close your eyes tonight, may you feel the gentle whisper of heaven saying, "You were never forgotten, you were always chosen, and love has come home." Peace be upon you, beloved, always peace. Beloved soul, welcome again. You are still here, listening, resting, opening your spirit to the whispers of heaven. And that is no small thing, for each time you return, you are saying with your heart, "I am hungry for God's truth. I am thirsty for His peace. I am open to His voice." And heaven meets you here. We have spoken of destiny. We have spoken of their return. We have spoken of restoration and purpose. Now let us speak of you, for this story is not only about who left and who returned, it is also about what God is shaping within you, even now. Beloved, when they walked away, you felt loss. But in truth, heaven was carving space in your heart for something greater. Loss became the soil where faith grew. Loneliness became the altar where you discovered God's nearness. And tears became the river that washed away illusions, leaving behind the diamond of truth. This is the hidden wisdom of God. He does not waste pain. He does not waste delay. He transforms every moment, even the ones that wound us, into seeds of strength. And you, beloved, are stronger now than you realize. So when they returned, it was not only because destiny called them, it was also because you had grown ready to receive them in a new way. You are not the same as before. Your love has deepened, your patience has stretched, your spirit has matured. And this maturity is what allows this union to hold steady now. But here is what heaven wants you to know. Do not build your peace only on their return. Build your peace on God. For people may come and go, but God remains. People may change, but God is unchanging. And when your heart rests on Him first, then love with others will flourish without fear. Let your heart say each day, "God, I thank you for this person, but my ultimate joy is in you. God, I bless this love, but my deepest anchor is your love. God, I welcome their presence, but I rest in your presence above all." This is how you keep balance. This is how you guard your heart from fear of loss. For when God is first, everything else aligns. Beloved, let me ask you gently, do you see how faithful God has been to you? Even in the silence He was working, even in the absence He was preparing. And now, in the return, He is revealing His faithfulness in full view. Do not doubt His hand now. He who began the story will finish it beautifully. Pause here with me. Let us breathe. Let us let gratitude rise within us. Thank God for what was, what is, and what will be. Thank God for the one who returned, but thank Him even more for being the one who brought them back. Beloved, if this message is watering your soul, I invite you gently, subscribe, so that your spirit always has a place of rest and truth. Share your reflections, your prayers, in the comments. They are not small words, but seeds that may heal another heart reading them. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that destiny cannot be escaped when God is the author. And if you feel deeply blessed, a super thanks is not just support. It is a way to help these gentle words reach thousands more, spreading peace to souls across the earth. Your kindness becomes a bridge for God's light. Now let us walk deeper still. Heaven says, their return is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter. You are invited now to build, not in fear, but in faith. To walk, not in suspicion, but in surrender. To love, not in your own strength, but with God's strength flowing through you. Guard this love with prayer. Speak blessings over it each morning. Invite God into every conversation, every decision, every moment. For a love covered in prayer becomes a love sealed by heaven. And remember, beloved, this union is not just about you two. It is about everyone who will see your light. Your story will whisper to others, yes, God restores. Yes, God heals. Yes, God brings back what was lost. So, walk gently, walk humbly, walk gratefully, for you are not just carrying a person's return, you are carrying a testimony. Beloved soul, destiny is alive in your life. They could not escape it. You could not escape it. And together, you are living proof that God's will always prevails. So tonight, rest easy. Let peace cover you like a blanket. Let hope steady your breathing. And let love, pure and sacred, guide your steps into tomorrow. And if your heart has been blessed here, remember, subscribe, leave your prayer in the comments, share this light with someone in need, and if led, offer a super thanks to help this work of peace continue. Together, we spread the gentle word of heaven further. Now, beloved, close your eyes and hear heaven whisper once more. You were chosen. You were remembered, and love has found its way back to you. Peace to you always. Peace to your heart. Peace to your journey. Beloved soul, welcome back to this sacred space where heaven speaks softly to your heart. The truth has been unfolding gently across these moments we've shared. And now you are ready to hear even deeper what God is doing with this love story in your life. From the very beginning, God's hand has been writing over your life. Not in ink that fades, not in words that can be erased, but in eternal strokes of destiny that cannot be undone. This is why they could not escape, even when fear told them to run, even when the world whispered that you were not the answer, even when their own heart trembled and tried to turn away. Because destiny is not a chain that binds. It is a calling that pulls. It is God's voice echoing in the deepest chambers of the soul, reminding them of what they can try to silence, but never truly erase. That they were made to walk with you. That their journey is incomplete without yours. That no distance or denial could blot out the truth God has declared. And this, dear heart, is why you have felt the pull too, even when you tried to move on, even when your tears told you to close the door, even when you whispered, maybe this isn't meant to be. God's Spirit kept stirring, reminding you that His ways are not like the ways of men, that His timing is not bound by clocks, that His plans are not cancelled by hesitation or delay. This love is not fragile. It is not a passing emotion. It is covenant-born, heaven-breathed, woven into the very fabric of your destiny. And heaven says today, be at peace, because nothing and no one can steal what God Himself has sealed. When they left, it was not because God's hand had lifted. It was because their heart was still learning how to surrender. But destiny does not need perfection to keep moving. It simply requires alignment, and sooner or later, hearts that belong together are drawn back into place. And now, can you feel it? The turning of seasons, the quiet restoration unfolding. God has not wasted your waiting. Every moment of silence, every unanswered question, every sleepless night filled with prayers has been preparing both of you for the reunion heaven already wrote. Beloved soul, if these words are stirring your spirit, take a gentle moment now to support this space of peace. If the message is blessing you, I humbly invite you to subscribe so these words can continue to meet you where you are. Leave your reflections or prayer requests in the comments. Your words may be the very encouragement another weary soul is waiting for. And if you feel led, share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of God's faithfulness today. Finally, if this message has truly touched your heart, and you would like to help this channel continue sharing God's light, you may support with a super thanks. Every offering, every kind act of support becomes a seed that helps this message reach further into the world. And I hold deep gratitude for every soul who gives, not just for me, but for the lives God touches through these words. Now, Let us continue. When they return, and yes, heaven says return is certain, they will not come back as the same person who left. They will carry lessons in their heart. They will carry a new humility, a softened spirit, a deeper reverence for the connection they once took lightly. And you will no longer be the one who waits in pain. You will be the one who receives them with wisdom, with grace, with the kind of love that has been refined in the fire of patience. Because destiny doesn't just reunite, it transforms. It takes two wounded hearts and shapes them into something stronger. It takes stories of separation and turns them into testimonies of restoration. It takes what looked like the end and reveals it was only the beginning. So, breathe deeply now. Release the anxiety that still lingers in your chest. Trust that God is still holding every detail together. Trust that heaven has never left your side. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. And the love you are being prepared to receive will not pass you by this time. Even now, God whispers to your soul, you have waited long enough. Now is the season of return. Now is the season of fulfillment. Let your heart be at rest. Let your spirit lean into trust. Because heaven says they couldn't escape destiny, and destiny has led them right back to you. Beloved soul, carry this truth as a light within you, and know that the story is still unfolding. But it is unfolding in your favor, with heaven's hand guiding every page. Welcome, beloved soul. You are not here by accident. You are listening because God Himself wanted your heart to rest in this truth today. Heaven is reminding you now, what belongs to you in God's design can never be stolen, can never be erased, and can never be left behind forever. Even when people wander, even when they walk away, even when it seems like the bond is broken, beyond repair, God holds the final word. They tried to resist the call. They tried to bury what was written. They thought distance, silence, or distraction could erase the truth of their spirit. But you must hear this deeply. Destiny cannot be undone. When God writes something into the story of your life, no amount of human choice can fully erase what heaven has decreed. They could not escape the stirring of their own heart. They could not escape the ache in their soul every time they thought of you. They could not escape the memories that carried God's fingerprints. And though they may have fought it, heaven whispered louder, reminding them that love authored by God is stronger than fear, stronger than pride, stronger than delay. God brought them back, not because you forced them, not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated the outcome, but because heaven's hand gently but firmly turned them back toward what was always meant. This is the power of divine alignment. What is written by God has a gravity that pulls hearts into union, no matter how far they drift. Beloved, I know you have cried in silence. I know you have wondered if you were forgotten, left behind, abandoned. But God saw every tear, and He turned those tears into prayers that watered the soil of destiny. Now, the seeds you thought had died are rising again, growing into a love, renewed by grace and strengthened by divine timing. And so I tell you, trust what God has restored. Do not hold on to the bitterness of their absence. Do not rehearse the pain of the past. Instead, let your heart embrace the miracle of return. For it is not by chance. It is not weak. It is not fragile. It is God-ordained. If these words are touching your soul, if you feel the Spirit confirming this message within, I invite you to take a moment to subscribe to this channel for more peaceful guidance like this. Leave your reflections, or even your prayer requests, in the comments so that together we may lift each other before God's throne of mercy. And if this message has blessed you in a deep way, consider pressing the super thanks to help keep this ministry flowing to more souls in need of peace. Every act of support is received with gratitude and prayer, and it becomes part of the river that carries God's comfort to many. Now return with me to the heart of this truth. They could not escape destiny. They could not run from God's call. For when heaven writes, it is written with eternal ink. And when God calls two lives to walk together, No separation is permanent unless God Himself wills it. So do not let fear whisper to you. Do not let doubt steal your joy. Welcome what God has restored with open hands, open heart, and open faith. For He has brought them back not only to you, but to Himself. And in that return, there is healing, redemption, and holy newness. Beloved, your waiting was not wasted. Your tears were not unseen. Your faith was not ignored. Heaven has smiled upon your endurance, and God has honored your prayers in His perfect time. So lift your eyes, breathe deeply, and give thanks, because what God restores is always stronger than what was broken. And before you leave today, let your soul linger in this peace. If this message has carried you gently, remember to subscribe, to share it with someone who may be hurting, to leave your reflections or prayers, and to support if you feel led, because every act extends the reach of these words to more souls who need to know that God has not forgotten them either. Heaven says they could not escape destiny. God has brought them back, and now it is your time to walk in the beauty of a love redeemed, renewed, and divinely restored. Amen.